Hi, it's John. Welcome to my channel EV Intuition, where I help you understand about electric vehicles. If you're new to electric vehicles or looking to be an electric vehicle owner someday, one of the questions you may have is, how do I find public electric vehicle chargers? They're not as common as gas stations, so how do I find them? I'm going to help you answer that, so stay tuned. Before I begin today's topic, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel. I provide lots of videos to help educate you on electric vehicles. Thank you. So today we're talking about electric vehicle chargers. How do I find them? Well, when you ask that question, the next question you have to answer is, what type of electric vehicle charger I'm looking for? Because as I've explained in a previous video, there are two types of electric vehicle chargers. So which one are you looking for? As I've mentioned, there's AC chargers and DC fast chargers. AC chargers tend to be your slow chargers. They only produce 3 to 20 kilowatts of power. And very often, AC chargers are used for people that don't have a home AC charger. Now, I have a home AC charger, so I use that most often to charge my vehicle. But there are some people that own electric vehicles that don't have a charger at home or in their apartment or condo. So they need to look for particular chargers, and AC chargers tend to be more available than any other type of charger out there. So they look for them to bump up their vehicle's charge. The other thing is, and this is what I use public AC chargers for, is that when I'm going to a particular location, for example, the town that I live in has a lot of AC chargers throughout it. And if I go to a particular restaurant in town, there's a public parking lot which has electric vehicle chargers, and they happen to be free to use. So when I go to that particular restaurant or any restaurants in town there, I'll park my car in an available electric vehicle location with a charger there, and I'll plug it in for the time that I'm there. And it just bumps me up in it. It's not going to fully charge my vehicle, but it gives me a boost in the state of charge of my vehicle, which is kind of handy. And the fact that it's free is another bonus. Plus the fact that EV charger locations tend to be in premium parts of the parking lots. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, when I'm going to other parts of town, I may look at, I'm going there, are there any vehicle chargers around there that I can park my car at? So I'll look that up. And I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. But those are the reasons why you use AC charger or slow charger is really to bump up your state of charge. And keep in mind, sometimes they're free and sometimes there's a fee base. So you've got to keep that in mind. And some of them require a particular app in order to activate. So you might want to do that before you go to that location and use that charger, is download the app. And it's important to note that you'll find these type of public chargers in places of employment, parking lots, garages, shopping centers, entertainment values. I even have a fitness center where I go to, where if I'm going to work out, I just park it there, work out, and I get a little boost. So they're great to have, and in some locations they're very available and free. The second type of charger is the DC fast charger. Now this is typically used when you're on road trips, and they're very necessary for that. It is the fastest way to charge. They provide 50 to 350 kilowatts of power, which allows your car to be charged typically less than an hour, maybe a half an hour or less. With these chargers, there's always a cost associated with it, and that cost tends to be a lot more than what you'd find in a slow charger or an AC charger. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Look at the price. Around New York State, where I live, it's typically around 40 cents or more per kilowatt hour. So that's something to keep in mind. But you'll find these type of DC fast chargers along expressways, in malls or big shopping center parking lots, and sometimes in gas station lots. They have a part of their parking lot that has EV chargers on it. Once you know the particular charger that you're looking for, it's now helpful, because then you can figure out which of the different techniques I'm going to talk about to find your EV charger location. One of the best locations that I think you can find an EV charger is using your in-vehicle UI or application. All manufacturers have a big screen, typically with an electric vehicle, that has some capability of helping you find electric vehicle chargers. Now, they vary quite a bit in the quality and the usefulness of these applications. But let me start by talking about Tesla, which is considered the best in class in this area, especially for finding DC fast charger or superchargers, as Tesla likes to call them. The nice thing about Tesla is they have a very unique position in the electric vehicle market. Not only they are a manufacturer of an electric vehicle, but they also have the biggest DC fast charging network in the country. They provide a nice integration between your vehicle and that network for DC fast charging. If you own a Tesla, there's two ways that you can find DC fast charging locations. The first is what I use most often is when I'm going on a road trip, I just type in the destination. It could be a street address or a venue that I'm going to into the navigation system within the Tesla. And what it'll do is calculate your route and include in that route the locations of the superchargers that it's going to suggest you stop at to recharge your vehicle. The other nice thing about this is that it is a dynamic system. And what I mean by that is that Tesla is always looking at the state of that particular supercharger location that it's taking you to. And I've been on trips where that supercharger location got busy. And instead of routing me to that particular supercharger, it moved me to another one while I was traveling. So I didn't have to keep constantly looking at the state of that. It did it for me, which is a great thing and makes it best in class in this particular area. The other thing that it shows you typically when you're going to that location, it tells you how many particular chargers are available at that location. The nice thing about Tesla locations is typically there's at least 8 chargers in each Tesla supercharger location. And it'll tell me how many of those chargers that are there are available if you want to look at it. But once again, it includes that in the route system. The other way to find a location of a Tesla supercharger, if you were just in the vehicle and not navigating, is just tap the map on your screen. And what this will do is it'll bring up a black vertical icon on the right side with a bunch of menu icons. One of the icons is like a lightning bolt. You tap that lightning bolt, and what that'll do is bring up a list of chargers for you. Superchargers, starting with the closest one and going on from there. So let's say you're in a particular location and you want to just charge up your vehicle at a supercharger location, tap the screen, tap the icon, and then tap the charger that you want to go to. Very simple. Also included in there is the amount or the availability of how many chargers are currently available to use. So it's another beautiful thing about Tesla. Now, I also owned a Ford Mach-E. Now, the Ford Mach-E also provided its own navigation system. Ford uses currently today the CCS standard for a connector for DC fast chargers, as different from the Tesla. Now, I've spoken in another video that the electric vehicle world in the United States is moving towards a single connector, that being the Tesla connector, or also referred to as the North America Charging Standard, in about year 2025. So we're just beginning that transition. So for now, you're still going to have to deal with the fact that there are 2 different type of DC fast charger connections. And there's Tesla and everybody else. And everybody else is using, for the most part, the CCS connector. And when I owned my Ford Mach-E, I would have to find locations that had CCS chargers. I couldn't use a Tesla charger. So the Ford had a navigation system inside its vehicle that would take you to particular chargers. Now, the one big difference between the Ford and the Tesla is it would take me to chargers, but it would not have any idea or give you any information about the particular state of that location. For example, maybe that location is busy. Maybe some of those particular chargers are down. I would not get any of that in it. So it would blindly take you to that particular location, not knowing the current state of it, which I think is a downside of that. And I didn't use the Ford navigation system that much because of that shortfall. But many other vehicles have within them a in-vehicle app that helps you find EV charger locations. And the other thing that a lot of vehicles do is they have Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, which helps you also use particular apps on your phone. And two of the apps that are very common for navigation, the Google Maps or the Apple Maps application, also can be used to help you find a particular EV charger.
To use Google Maps to find electric vehicle chargers, tap the Maps icon. It opens where you left off. And on the category list, just under the search bar, you'll notice these lists of categories. Go all the way to More, then scroll down into Services, click Charging Station. Then it'll populate the map with the chargers where your map is showing, and you can click to indicate what type of charger. This particular one is a fast charger with CCS and CHAdeMO. You can also click any other ones, this one being a J772. So it provides useful information about the charger and its location.
And actually, currently today, some vehicle manufacturers are performing some integration between Apple Maps or Google Maps to help that particular app know the state of charge of the vehicle and then give you better sense of when to charge or what chargers you can get to before you run too low. Now, the next area that you can use to help find electric vehicle chargers is the vehicle's app itself. Most vehicle manufacturers have a particular vehicle app that you can use, and within that app they have capabilities of finding electric vehicle charger. For example, I have the Tesla app for my Tesla now, and that has capabilities to help me find an electric vehicle charger. And once again, the key thing here is most of the time it's looking for superchargers. It doesn't do a good job of helping me find low AC chargers or the slower chargers.
You can also use the Tesla app to find EV charger locations. Tap the app, go into Locations, then hit the Charge icon and the Navigate icon, and it will show you here the closest chargers. The other thing that's always worth pointing out, it'll also show you how many chargers at those locations are available. In this case, 2 of 8 are available. In this case, 8 of 8 are available. So very convenient, very informative.
When I owned my Ford Mach-E, I used the Ford Pass app, which also had some navigation capabilities and abilities to find chargers within it. So just like Ford and Tesla, many manufacturers have embedded in their applications the ability to find chargers. So that's a second way to help you find chargers. In most cases, we're talking about DC fast chargers. Now, so far with in-vehicle applications or UI and the vehicle apps, I've been saying that for the most part, those are very helpful in finding DC fast chargers or superchargers. Well, what about the AC or slow chargers? And that's where other mobile apps come into play. I believe that the most useful application is a mobile app called PlugShare. PlugShare is available in both iOS and Android platforms. And the nice thing about PlugShare is that you can find all kinds of chargers, from DC fast chargers to AC chargers, and it finds nearly all of them. Unlike some of the in-vehicle applications or the vehicle apps themselves, they don't always give you a good listing of all the EV chargers, especially the AC chargers. So PlugShare I highly recommend as your tool to help you find it. Now, what's PlugShare give you? it gives you the ability to look at either your current location or any location. Say, for example, you're going to a particular location or part of the city. Type in that location and it'll show you the various chargers around where you're going. And you can filter it to pick what types of chargers you're looking to find. Are you looking to find just the AC chargers, or are you looking to find a particular DC fast charging connector? It does it both. Now, the other thing that it provides, which is very handy, is that it gives you the ability to see other users' comments on how successful or unsuccessful they were in using that particular charger. So this is one of the features that I use very often when I had my Ford Mach-E, to know, well, what's the current state of our particular charging locations? Because several times I would find that a particular location had four chargers available there, but maybe 2 were broken and only 2 would be available for use. And that might be a one that I say, well, I might want to avoid that one if there's another charger that has more than that as far as chargers that are workable and available to use. So that's the other thing. It also gives a rating on that particular location. I don't put too much, I don't think the rating is as useful. To me, the key is the comments made by recent visitors to that location. And if it's a heavily used location, often you'll get a very recent comment, maybe yesterday or within a week or so on, that you can help decide, well, this might be a good location. The other thing it provides is it tells you whether it's a fee or free based charger, typically how much the cost is it in a location that requires you to pay for parking, etc. And it also tells you what's around that location. So once again, PlugShare is an excellent application to have to help you know how to find electric vehicle chargers.
Here's an example of using the PlugShare app. You tap the app, and then you want to search maybe for a location of where you want to go and find a charger. Let's type in Rochester, New York, and it searches. We've got it. It brings you over there. You can then expand that to look into it. This is downtown. And then you check the filters. Let's just look for the AC chargers or the slow chargers and view them. And that's what's showing the different chargers that are available there. You can click this one, Washington Square Garage, and notice it was grayed out. And it was grayed out because there's 4 chargers there that are all being used, so there's none available according to the app. Now, the nice thing is it tells you more details about that location. You got to pay for parking. And here are some comments on recent people that have checked in there. And you can check in with your vehicle and add your comments there. But that's a nice thing about this. Here's the other thing. It talks about the cost. It's free charging, but paid parking. So this is an example of how useful the PlugShare app can be. It also gives you pictures of that location. So it's a kind of a very handy tool that you can use to find, especially AC chargers, but you can also do the same thing for DC chargers.
Now, there's a couple other apps that I've used and I also recommend. Another app is referred to as ABRP, and it really stands for a Better Route Planner. Now, for the most part, ABRP is a navigation application, which means you type in first of all, you create a profile on your car that you're having, because different cars get different amount of efficiency per the charge that they have in them. And it uses that information about your vehicle to help plan your trip. So just like in Tesla, you could put the final destination that you're going to and your starting location, and ABRP will plan out your route, which will also include what chargers that it suggests that you stop at. And so that's a pretty useful tool. Once again, it is not a tool that knows the current state of those particular chargers, and it won't reroute you based on that. At least currently today, it doesn't do that. But it is a helpful tool to help plan your trip and indicate what chargers to use in between. Another application that I've used is the Charge Hub app, and it can be used once again as a tool to find particular chargers around you or to navigate, and it would also put in your navigation route chargers that it would suggest. Those are a couple applications that I think are very useful to use in helping you navigate to electric vehicle chargers, or just go directly right to an electric vehicle charger, finding an electric vehicle charger somewhere near you. Now, the last area you ought to be aware of regarding EV chargers is that many of the EV chargers, I think all of them, all the EV charger locations have a app associated with them. For example, Tesla, the biggest network, which currently only allows you to be a Tesla car to use it, and soon many other cars. I already hear that Ford is starting to have some ability to use Tesla superchargers. But anyway, the Tesla EV charging network has an application, and you can use that to get further information about those particular EV charging locations. As I've mentioned before, it gives you how many is currently available and what are the amenities around it. More than Tesla, and more importantly for the CCS vehicles like Ford, General Motors, BMW, and all the other manufacturers today, I think knowing what network you're going to is helpful. For example, if I know a charger that I'm stopping at is going to be an EV or an Electrify America location, I open the Electrify America app and go to that particular location, because it will give me a status of the particular chargers at that location and how many are currently available. So that's the nice thing about it. Unfortunately, when you have a CCS vehicle and you're traveling, sometimes you may be using chargers from different networks along your road trip, and they're not all integrated, so you don't get to see the status of all those within your in-vehicle application or your mobile app. So you have to go to the particular EV charging network. And some of the biggest networks, besides Tesla being the biggest, you have Electrify America, EVgo, ChargePoint, is just some of the top electric vehicle charging networks in the United States. So downloading their app and then going to that particular location that you may be considering stopping by for a charge might give you some indication of the current status of that location and whether it's busy or available. In summary, there are many different ways that you can use to find electric vehicle chargers, depending on the charger type and depending on what type of vehicle you're using. So I hope you found this information today very useful. Please subscribe and look at some of the other videos that I have offered in helping you understand about electric vehicles. Until next time, thanks for watching.